Welcome to The Link. My name is Joni Wedler. The Link is a program that links you with the resources in your community. And on today's program, we're going to introduce you to UR Community Cares, which is an organization that connects people in need with people who want to help. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Puzzo. Michelle is a co-founder of UR Community Cares. And in 2019, Michelle, what happened that made you decide to found this organization that we're going to talk about today?
I think being a physical therapist, I was going into so many homes and seeing the needs directly in the community of what people lacked. They really lacked assistance with everyday chores, and that's where I realized that I could build a network of neighbors that could help support one another.
So I have a personal situation with a family member who does need services, and we have found that when you're looking for people to help with various things, day-to-day chores or other kinds of things, that you don't want to just have anybody coming into the home. Mm. Conversely, you may be an individual who wants to help. You say, gee, I have a couple of extra hours. I'd like to keep busy. I don't mind driving or giving someone a ride, but I don't really know who needs that help, and I don't know how to get involved with something like this. And I haven't seen another organization that does what you're doing in the state. Are you the only ones?
Yes, we are. We provide the opportunity for volunteers that are background checked. Everyone on our platform is background checked, and that is important for safety reasons, that you know that the person that's going to be walking in your door is a safe volunteer. And that is people that are blind, people that have all types of disabilities, that want that confidence of that person that's coming in their door is a safe person. So we do background checks, and volunteers can sign up to do an hour a week or 3 hours a week. It all depends on their schedule. We've created a way on our website for them to sign up for the tasks that are convenient for their schedule.
So what you've really done is provided the platform for people to connect with each other, and you are the champion for making that all happen and finding out some of the nuances around that. So let's talk about the statistics before we get into how people can partner, how they can take advantage of services, how they can volunteer. What are we looking at for statistics? I mean, you said when you went into people's homes as a physical therapist, you saw the direct need. But as the population continues to age, what are we going to be facing?
Well, there's approximately 10,000 people every day turning 65. So we know each community is getting older. We know each community is coming up with ways to help support their older residents. And we think that yourcommunitycares.org, which is our website, is a great resource for towns to connect their residents.
So let's go into municipalities a little bit. How are you working with municipalities to see coupling with organizations like Bristol Community Organization, or there are others across the state that provide fuel assistance to neighbors and friends, or other kinds of things, social service agencies?
So we're right now, we've done some presentations with Council of Governments, different municipalities that really are analyzing their town to figure out what are recommendations for their older adults and people with disabilities. So an example, in the town of Manchester, they did a senior needs assessment to really analyze this population that we know is about 30% of each town makes up this population of people that we're serving. So in the town of Manchester, the first year we were in their human services budget, we were able to connect about 80 people. So we have about 80 residents in Manchester that are connecting with one another to have all of these little tasks that we think are easy, as we don't have any mobility issues, but when you do have mobility issues, it really can make a big impact on communities and save the community members on having to pay for additional services. It really is a cost savings. It comes out of the town budget as a small line item, but it really does help save the community members quite a bit of money out of their own pocket, which we know many of them are on a fixed budget, being disabled or retired.
And it keeps those community members in their homes, in their places of residence, and still very much a part of their communities, which is what we want.
Yeah.
And town leaders want that too. Now, the organization that you run is a 501c3.
Correct.
So you've been very successful recently with some grant opportunities. And would you like to give a shout out to any one of those who have helped to launch other segments of what you're doing, because you're only a couple of years old?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, in our, we had only launched about 6 months prior to COVID hitting.
Oh boy.
And then as a result of COVID and people really wanting to give back to their community, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving created these community grants. So in their towns, they gave $100,000 to their towns and allowed the towns to decide how to use the funding. And we've had a lot of success with explaining to these towns how we can be a benefit. So an example is in the town of Glastonbury, we received $3,000 and we've already met our numbers. We've already met our quota for in like 6 months, because in that town we were able to connect community members to volunteers and really make the magic happen. As we have the funding in these towns, it really helps us to cover the expense of the background checks, helps us cover the expense of the insurance and the website, because we are a technology company as a 501c3, which is a pricey thing as a startup 501c3.
But in order to, unless you have a large staff, you have to be able to use broadband in order to connect with different municipalities, the members, the volunteers, your partners, which we're going to talk about in our next segment. And so it's vital that you're able to connect that way. And I'm sure any of your team members, boards of directors, advisory council members, all part of a 501c3, which that's, for those who aren't familiar with that, that's a designation that's very important for a nonprofit to have, because that means that you can start writing grants and using funds to help your organization to grow, where some other nonprofits aren't able to do that. So it's an important designation, but it comes with certain responsibilities.
Yes, and also we want to make sure that our website is encrypted, so it's as safe as possible, that people's personal information. So we wanted to invest in our technology to have the highest level of security as well. But we are a 100% volunteer organization, so none of us are paid. We're doing this as a passion that we all want to make a better tomorrow, because we know that so many people need help. And so it's just a way for us to continue to give back into communities. And I think we're in about 105 or 110 communities across Connecticut right now.
I'm shaking my head, because to hear you say that in times like this, that you're a volunteer organization that just believes in helping people and getting things done. Thank you for everything that you're doing. But we want to provide this showcase for you, because we want you folks to get involved with this wonderful organization. So let's talk a little bit about folks that have a need. So if I'm someone who has a need, and what does that mean, have a need? I mean, maybe I need help with cleaning, maybe I need a ride, maybe I need some help with laundry. I'm not sure what your list of needs are, so let's talk about someone who has a need and who qualifies.
Sure. Anyone over the age of 70. So right now, being a startup, we have 2 qualifiers. Anyone over the age of 70, and maybe one day as we're growing, we're able to drop that number, but because so many people are aging, we've set it at age 70. And then anyone over the age of 18 with a disability. So that could be a patient that's in the hospital that is having a colonoscopy and or having a hip replacement, but they might be younger than 70, they would qualify. So if that person needed help with pet care, say they have a pet at home, they're a single person, they don't have anybody else, they could have a volunteer come over and help them with feeding their pet or walking their pet. They could have them, say they weren't able to drive for 3 weeks after their procedure. Maybe they needed a ride to a follow-up appointment. Those are the types of tasks that volunteers can help with. And we know that it's really vital for hospitals and insurance companies to try to make their patients and members as healthy as possible. And we're really networking with some of those entities across Connecticut to make sure that their patients are getting to those follow-up appointments, or that their pets are being cared for so they don't check themselves out of the hospital. And
early, which I never even thought of. Michelle and I were talking before the show started about people who are checking themselves out early because they're worried about their animal at home, that they don't have anybody to take care of. So I'm just going to go down some of the household tasks: yard work, companionship, socialization, medical appointments, shopping trips, maybe changing the bed, indoor plants, washing, dusting, those kinds of things, yard work. And so that's someone who has a need. Now, how would that person work with your organization? They would go on your website and they would sign up as someone who is looking for some help.
Yep. So the first step is everybody goes to our website, if they have the internet, if they have technology, and they sign themselves up as a community member. So a community member is the person that needs help. If they don't have access to technology or they don't have the internet, they can call us and we can sign them up. Or they could have a family member or a friend, or if they have a social worker, a caseworker, they could also sign them up. So there's multiple ways that people can sign up. It's not just the website. We've created it so that a friend in California or a sister in any state can sign someone else on their behalf and run their profile for them.
All right, and then they are checked to make sure that indeed they do need assistance and that they do, because if I'm volunteering and going into someone's home or going to take them somewhere or give them a ride somewhere, you want to make sure that it's vetted.
Right.
So now I'm someone who says, hey, Michelle, I've got a couple of hours and I would like to do something for someone, and how do I go about that? So if I go to your website, then what will I see?
So you'll sign up as a volunteer. We'll do a background check and you'll get an email letting you know that you've cleared the background check. And then at that time, you would log into your profile and you're going to look for the days and times that you're available that line up with what you're interested in. So if you sign up to be a companion and you only want to do companionship, you'll only see the tasks that are related to companionship. Then you would go in and accept the days and times that are convenient for you.
So it's
really a matchmaking.
It's a matchmaking, and then I would imagine partnerships and relationships are formed. Really,
Absolutely.
I want to say relationships, not so much partnerships, friendships. Where, gee, I really like going and helping, Mrs. So-and-so, and now she may need a ride somewhere. We're comfortable with each other, and we can work together like that. And then if there's any questions, is there a phone number that we could call to get in touch with you or a member of your team?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
You can always every email puts our information so they could be contacting us. And then when the deed is done, those good deeds that are happening in the community, people will sign in again and put a testimonial and a rating in the deed. So we can see on the back end what happened. So say the person needed a ramp, or they might not have any food in the fridge, and whatever it might be. If they notice that there was a problem, or they want to just say, great volunteer, I can't wait for them to come and help me again. We're getting all kinds of feedback. One recent example is that a lady had a shoulder surgery last week. So she needed a ride to the hospital, she needed a ride home, and then she needed someone to come every day because she lives alone to help her with some food prep. And different volunteers have been helping her for the last week with all of these different chores. And it's just amazing to see communities coming together, using the website to help one another. And it's really awesome.
Thank you for putting the time, resources, energy, and effort into creating this network so people can connect with each other, help each other, and we can hear some more of these success stories. And I know I found you on YouTube, so there are some great videos out there if you'd like to take a look. And at the end of the program, we're going to have the information for UR Community Cares on the website so people can get in touch with you. We've got to say goodbye to Michelle, but we're going to introduce the other co-founder, MD Birmingham, on the program when we come back, so stay with us.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. A customer just dropped off their conversion order. Here at Nutmeg TV, you can bring us your old home movies and we'll convert them on site for you. Whether it's tapes, photos, films, slides, we do it all. You bring us your memories and we do the rest. Let me show you what I mean. Hey, Rich.
Oh, hey there.
Got another order for you.
Great.
Looks like you're working on a film order.
Yup, it's for Mrs. Rogers. She hasn't seen her wedding in years, and now she can. We'll put it on a flash drive and a DVD so she and her family can watch it again.
She was really excited that we do it all in-house and that we don't send it out. I can't wait to call her when it's ready. So if you want to preserve your precious memories, drop it all off at Nutmeg TV. From film, tapes, slides, and photos, we do it all. Give us a call. For more information, 860-321-7405 or nutmegtv.com.
The other founder of UR Community Cares is MD Birmingham. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to find out how you and Michelle connected, because you guys have started this fabulous organization, but how did that happen?
Well, to give you a little insight about how we connected, I have to go back to my injury.
Okay.
And February 11, 2007, I acquired spinal cord injury and closed head TBI. I was in a coma for a little over a month, and the surgeon's diagnosis was to be dead at best a vegetable.
I'm sorry.
So what?
But that has not happened.
Exactly. So, I used that, and as I rehabilitated for a long time. But that gave me the insight into both worlds. The world of the normal person, and then of someone that was injured, disabled. I was a Hoyer lift out of the bed, so I really got.
Boy, you've done a lot of work. So when you say Hoyer lift out of the bed, for those who don't know what a Hoyer lift is, he literally could not do it himself. And he walked in the studio today, no walker.
Nope.
Unbelievable. You've done a tremendous amount of work. You should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
But you also need people to help you get there. And is that how this connection happened?
I needed information because my understanding of anything in life is if you don't understand the problem, you won't be able to get the solution.
That's right.
So I had to understand my injury, and that's how we initially connected.
And here we are. Here we are. So the new initiative right now down in Clinton, Connecticut is what?
The Community Assistance Team. So the way how UR Community Cares works is we have two approaches. We have an organic approach. That's where individuals sign up on their own as community members or volunteers. And then we also have a structural approach, and that's where we connect with the human service departments because they know their population best.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, so there's your community members, and then we connect with the police department, like in Clinton. And they have auxiliary volunteers, and they're also awareness trained, for dementia and other things, auditory.
Right.
So they provide the volunteers for the community members. So it's almost like autopilot,
Mm-hmm.
and that way the town is really having ownership of
The results.
Exactly.
Now, MD, can that model that has been so successful in Clinton be a model that you can present to other municipalities?
That's the game plan.
That's a game plan, right? Because that worked well.
We want that to happen in every town. And that's the goal. We're pushing to do that. We're slowly integrating with other human service departments, senior centers, police departments.
Right.
But, you know, we're like a startup, you know, so
Yeah,
we
but
don't have.
You've done so much in a short period of time. I mean, 2019, you've got your 501c3. You've got, how many cities and towns in the state are you currently?
We're approximately in about 75% of Connecticut, so that's about a little over 510 towns. So, and growing.
Yeah, I see the 400 enrolled volunteer. We'll just go through some of the stats to let people know just how successful you guys are in such a short period of time, and will be more the more we get the word out. 300 enrolled community members, 700 background checks, which is key. And the background checks cost $25,000 for that. I mean, this is, so let's talk about partners. Maybe there's a business who's watching this program who's interested in partnering. What does that look like? So maybe I don't want to be a volunteer, or I don't have a need, but I say, well, gee, I'd like my company to donate.
They can be a sponsor.
Okay.
You know, and being a sponsor will put their material in our website, so other people can see, oh, this company is sponsoring your community cares. And if it takes them to a landing page for a product or whatever, then they'll click on it, and there's your connection.
There's your connection. Now, what about towns? We talked with Michelle about municipalities, but I'd like to get this program to the towns that we service and say, hey, look at the possibilities. So you're also partnering with the town, like you did in Clinton, to make sure that the residents and the folks who are in service positions, like the police department, social services, et cetera, because we know that in parts of Avon and Farmington, some of the more affluent communities around the state, it's difficult to get people to come forward and say, hey, I need services, because they don't want to say they need services, and they do need them.
Well, not only that, but so typically in every town, maybe 10% of the quote-unquote seniors actually use the senior centers, because a lot of people don't consider themselves as seniors.
Well, can't you understand? They don't. They're like, we're not going to sit around and play bingo.
Yeah. So you know, that's one of the things. But to answer what you were asking regarding how it actually works, so I explained the sponsor part of it, but let's say, when we first started this, we had a one-to-one connection that was individuals, volunteer to community member. Then we upgraded it to a one-to-group. So that's where, let's say, the Human Services Department, they can operate and set up appointments for 10 community members. They can run their accounts and profiles, and then on the volunteer end, like with the police department, like in Clinton, they can operate for the volunteers as well and make the connections. This volunteer is going to go to that community task, and it's very simple in that response.
And it starts to build its own momentum, doesn't it? Now, when you look at where, in the next 5 years, I didn't ask Michelle this, I waited for you. 5 years, where do you want to see this? What's your goal?
5 years, my goal is a tighter knit community, something that's more harmonious. But in 5 years, I think we could be national. I honestly believe there's no reason why we couldn't be. Connecticut's just a starting place, but we're already branching into Mass, New York.
Yeah, the model is excellent. And you wonder why nobody hasn't come up with that before and had it be successful. I mean, it is a wonderful model, and I applaud your efforts, and we're going to certainly get the word out to the community. And the website, again, we have it at the end of the program here, but it's UR Community Cares.
Yes.
And Michelle and RD are available to talk with more about their organization. I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the viewers?
The letter U and the letter R is because you are your community. There's no community without you.
That's right.
So this is just one way for people to connect and really maximize resources within its own town.
I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much for coming in, and we'll see you next time on The Link.